Greetings. It feels good to be back. My name is Temba Nkuna. I'm the host of the Sales Matter podcast, founder of Sales Matter. On a weekly basis, we bring to you subject matter experts to dive deep on topics around data analytics and AI innovation. Our passion is Africa. We want to see real growth, transformation, and we believe that data can help businesses realize that potential and the growth which we're all seeking to achieve. Today, I'm sitting with Essie from SES, who's country manager and sales director at SES. Essie, welcome.
Thank you, Temba.
We appreciate having you here.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I think this episode really is rather for me more than the viewers, because I've been looking for an opportunity really to learn from you, to hear from you, because I see you're always on the move. The space that you're in seems to be exciting, right? So I think I'm going to benefit more than our viewers on this one, really.
Sure. I think I need to give you credit for your resilience, as I mentioned, as well as persistence. I mean, that's what it takes to be a sales guy, right?
Because I've been asking you to come. I've been pushing you.
Right? Yeah, I think it's been almost 18 months, if not 2 years. But I'm really glad to be here. I have meant to come, but as you know, I was quite new in my role and had been setting the foundation for the business.
100%.
And now I believe that we are at a stage where we can start, going outside of our comfort zone and start spreading the news of the good work that we've been doing.
You know what? Before we roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty, I'd like to ask you to please introduce yourself, to our viewers. Anything you want them to know about you, go for it.
Sure. As mentioned by Temba, I'm Essie Mokgonyana. I think he was having a challenge with my surname. I'm the country manager as well as sales director for SES South Africa. I've got a dual role in the organization. One of country manager, meaning that I oversee the business as a whole. I take care of the entire team. The South African business is my baby and my responsibility. On the other side, I manage the sales team who are selling to our customers and also, consulting with our customer, making sure that we provide the best value for the services we provide, not just technology, as well as consultative services to make sure that our customers are able to use their data to be more efficient as well as productive in the cloud, on-prem, or in a hybrid situation.
Okay. Let's unpack that a bit more. Country manager and sales director, what does that mean? Tell us a bit about your role at SES. On a daily basis, what are you doing?
Sure. I think my dual role is quite challenging. I need to drive sales as a sales director, managing the sales team, meaning that the people that I kind of overlook as a country manager, I also need to drive as a sales director. So it's quite a delicate balance that I need to strike within the organization. I have to be objective, looking at the overall view. I think it was quite deliberate of the management to give me this role.
Okay.
Because at times, salespeople will have to forgive me. At times, because of the drive that you have towards sales, you tend to be tunnel visioned. You don't look at the holistic, bigger picture. Whereas if you have a dual role, you know that the whole team belongs to you. You have to take care of each and every individual, from the cleaner up to the sales director that might report to you.
Okay.
So my responsibility has given me a opportunity to have a helicopter view and also care for each and every individual in the organization. I understand that, it's commerce drives business. However, it's the people at the center that we need to take care of. So this is the value of the role that I have in this current moment.
I see what you mean. What's exciting about being in this space? Being in the space that you're in?
Sure. As everybody knows, big data, artificial intelligence, generative AI has become a buzzword today. With SES, we've been in the game for over 40 years. Our founder, Dr. Jim Goodnight, founded the company in North Carolina, USA. 40 years ago, using cattle as a case study, and he had to help, I think, the Department of Agriculture at the time, as a lecturer in the University of North Carolina. From there, he discovered the power of data. That's where he came up with the SES language. For those who may not know, SES is both a technology, we're also a language. However, we've progressed since those 40 years. Players have come in, they found us on the journey, they're going with us, we're still going strong. We are not monolithic, we grow with the times.
Okay.
We've embraced machine learning and AI long before it was a buzzword. So that means that our R&D is focused on this particular area of artificial intelligence.
I love that.
So, and what I wanted to address to the audience as well is we need to be very careful. And sometimes with AI, you're prompting something speaks back to you. Yes, that's quite wonderful, especially in an environment like ours in Africa, where people are not literate. And if you're going to use large language model processing, which is what ChatGPT uses, for instance. Sorry for the for name dropping, but everybody knows ChatGPT is
100%.
the hallmark of artificial intelligence and generative AI. That, in our context, helps us to speak to the man on the ground. If people are speaking their local language through these models, large language models that use generative AI to prompt to be prompted and give value to the user, then our grandmothers can speak to an AI model and say, for example, if she wants to check the balance on her pension fund, for instance, she can just speak in Pedi and say, I would like to know how much more of my pension is available for the next 20 years, for instance. And of course, the large language model, which will be an AI or generative AI model, will be able to go back to the data, calculate the balance of the pension fund, and respond back to my grandmother in her own native language.
Okay, 100%. I love
Can you
that.
imagine the power that this would give to the citizen, especially in an African context?
That's amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Look, every guest I have on the show, every guest I've had on the show really has talked about the power of data, right? What does that power of data mean to you?
I would like to start, maybe go backwards and speak of the fifth industrial revolution. In African context, whenever you speak fifth industrial revolution, people become scared. And they don't want to touch it because they believe they haven't even touched the surface of the fourth industrial revolution.
Have we touched the surface of the third? The second, the first. I think these are interesting concepts to me, because I know when we talk about this, for us to have a 4IR, I'm assuming there should have been a 3IR, a 2IR, or the 1IR. Am I correct in making those type of assumptions and stuff?
I think you would be correct in other contexts where you are speaking to the perhaps European or first world.
Yeah.
But I would dare to be bold and challenge that narrative and say, in Africa, for instance, if we were to follow that type of trajectory, we would have to start with the horse and buggy. In our cultures, we didn't go there. We went from, hunter-gatherer, farmers, and we went to the motor vehicle. So why should we have to follow the trajectory that is set by the West? We have our own unique challenges and our own unique talents.
Okay.
Why don't we leverage what's here today and not think about retrospective? Yes, we can learn from there, but do we really have to wait? Most of the most innovative financial fintech technologies were springboarded in Africa because of our need and our challenges.
100%.
So for money remittance, for example, with your mobile phone, payment with your mobile phone, that started in Africa. Do we really need to go to the West and ask for permission to start 4 and go to 5? Let's look at 5 and say, what are the pillars of the fifth industrial revolution?
Okay.
That is resiliency, that is sustainability, and humanness at the center, meaning that it speaks to hyper-personalization, where you're providing services, products for the individual. We don't need to go a step back. Yes, we can, while we're on this journey, building the plane on this bicycle, let's use what we've got right now, leverage what is currently in the fifth industrial revolution. Then we can build the foundation for the fourth. Maybe we can even springboard and bring the sixth industrial revolution.
100%.
I believe, going back to your question,
yes,
in terms of data,
the power of data.
Yes, because of the pillar of the fifth industrial revolution being hyper-personalization, bringing services as well as products to the individual. That's where the gold is. That's the data. And if you want to understand your customer, your citizen, you need to understand your data properly, meaning that you have to focus on data quality. Those are the foundations. Of course, you can't bypass them. You need
100%.
to understand the quality of your data, grappling with third-party providers in terms of your data, and also dealing with legacy and disparate platforms that you need to bring along the journey. So I believe in tapping into your data, making data the center of your business, as mentioned as well by McKinsey in one of their studies. Speaking of McKinsey, they've discovered that 70% of digital transformation projects fail. And they did a study to understand why that is. The reason they fail is they never meet the objectives they were meant to meet in terms of the business requirements. Most of the time, digital transformation is seen as a technical project, whereas it should be seen as a digital project, or rather a business project that will bring business value. Right? One of those pillars within the digital transformation journey is data. they say that if you want to be successful in this in this transformation journey, you need to put data at the center.
At the center of your...
Absolutely.
I love that.
So companies like ourselves, SES, who understand data, are well positioned in this area. And the beauty of SES is that we don't only focus on our own technology. We've opened our platform. It's an open platform where you can come in with your open source. You can play around. Anybody from your actuary, data scientist, data engineer, the whole spectrum, even your CFOs, they can benefit from the platform that allows them to come bring their own language, pop it in there, process data as they wish, and also integrate with third-party providers using open APIs.
Okay. So which industries are you mainly exposed to or working with today?
Yes, I mean, if you were to open my CRM and you ask me that question, I would say everybody.
Okay.
The reason for that is data is everywhere, and I would also like to avoid, ring fencing SES, because SES, our one of our mottos is the power to know. So who needs to know? Everyone.
Okay, 100%.
Yes. But if I can speak to the value propositions that we have, and the majority of our customers who understand the value of what we bring to the table are financial institutions, which is your banks, your insurers. That's where the power of SES is fully known. So when we go in, we don't have to start by explaining.
Introducing yourself 100%.
Absolutely.
So the reason I'm asking you this question is because I've got a follow-up question, which is as you then interact with this, different sectors / industries and stuff, banking, financial services, retail, manufacturing. I don't know. What are you seeing as the common challenges when it comes to data?
Correct. Maybe let me elaborate and finish the first question,
okay,
if you
100%.
don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So yes, main customers are within the financial sector. You mentioned retail. We've got customers there that also understand the value of what we have to offer, which is a lot of data. Retailers have a lot of data on consumers. They could possibly be a government because of the amount of data that they've got on you and I in terms of how we behave within the commerce, etc. Then we also have government. And I believe government for SES is where we bring the most value. I mean, if you were to look at our product sets, subject matter expertise, from power generation, the fidelity of your power utilities such as Eskom, the power that they could harness from the data that they collect and that they have in terms of maintenance of equipment, from generation to distribution, etc. We've got a whole ecosystem that can service government from any area of their operation, including investigation management for the police.
Okay. And then common challenges that you're seeing across?
Sure. I believe the biggest question that arises, especially when you talk to the CDO, CDAOs, CTOs, is the quality of the data.
Okay.
Remember, data can come in different forms. There's structured, unstructured data. There's data that you generate yourself. There's also data that comes from the models or your models that you execute within production. Those also produce data. Then you've got third parties that you interact with. Those bring in data. So the quality of the data, as well as legacy system that contain that data, is a big challenge for most organizations. And I think the biggest legacy problem that they have is also vendor lock-in.
Okay.
Whereas South Africa is an early adopter when it comes to technology, especially cloud. I think the first hyperscaler in Africa was launched here, the second one as well. We continue to lead in terms of cloud. So what we provide to our customers is the ability to be agile in terms of the selection of their cloud vendor.
Okay.
They can run our platform in any cloud technology as long as they are using containerized Kubernetes clusters within the cloud.
100%.
Yeah.
I want us to make this practical. And I think, having you here, I'll take advantage of that. And I believe I qualify for free consultation, right?
Yeah, sure.
So,
go ahead.
Yes, Sales Matter. We're looking to expand into 18 African countries by 2030, providing MarTech solution, data analytics, and AI innovation solutions to businesses. Where do you think we should be starting when it comes to, this data space? What do you think we should be doing? What are the top 3 things or 4 steps? I don't know how many steps you want to suggest and stuff, but what do you think we should be doing?
Sure. I think if we were to go to the fundamentals of business is, first of all, you need to understand your market. You have to do thorough research, understand the challenges of your environment. Going into Africa is not easy, but you're an African, you live in Africa. I'm not saying because of what you look like. I'm saying you are an African because you live in Africa. You understand the challenges we have. But you need to remember as a South African that we are living in a different world. If you were to go to Kenya, for instance, different context applies there. Nigeria, different context. So there has to be a level of humility to understand that you don't know everything. You need to understand that you need to learn from the local market. So consultative selling is very important. Do your research, understand the market before you jump into it. That's one. The second one is you touched on MarTech. I believe, as I mentioned, one of the three pillars of the fifth industrial revolution is hyper personalization, which is human-centeredness. So going into that space of MarTech, you're going into the hyper personalization space where you want to use data to enable your customers, which will be government, retailers, etc., to market themselves better to their end customer. What better value do they bring than the data they have in their, let's say, collateral? You need to partner with, those data providers. I know it's quite tempting to go and reinvent the wheel, but I believe if you can identify partners that you can go with that have understanding of the data value chain and how hyper-personalization based on the data and behavior of the consumer can add value to your business, that would be quite, top-notch.
100%.
That's number two.
Okay.
And then on the third is you need to also be agile. As you're running a business, some things don't work. You have to be quick, fail fast. That's what I want to say.
Okay, fail fast.
Is you test your model. It's like in data. You have a data model, you'll have a champion and a challenger. So in your business plan, you need to have a champion and a challenger where you keep testing your champion. You understand that, okay, this is my target market, this is the value I bring, test it on the market and see if it's working. If it's not, you have to be quickly able to adjust. And that's where you as an organization, though you're selling data, need to use data. Sometimes data companies tend to think data is for them, but not for us. So don't forget that you're also generating data, you're also consuming data.
Okay.
Use that to be agile in your business model. If it's not working, quickly consult, quickly change your model, test it, and then go live with it. And whatever works, find your niche and continue improving. It's a cycle. It's like an infinity loop that you have to go on.
100%.
On this. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the three pillars that I think you need to focus on.
100%. No, I'm using this Sales Matter case study just to kind of start, raising awareness for those businesses out there looking also to cross, into the other, to cross the border into the other African countries and stuff. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Sales Matter case study. It can be any, business out there wanting to expand their operation and stuff. Case study number 2. Here's a business. They believe they're doing okay, right? Because this is what they've been doing since the beginning of time. Somewhat profitable, but could 10x that. They're not leveraging on data because they haven't seen the potential that data could bring into the space. Have you seen something like that?
Yes, I have. And unfortunately, those cases always become quite a disaster in terms of the business sustainability. Another pillar of the fifth industrial revolution.
Okay.
It's simple, you see. It's very simple pillars that we need to focus on. I believe as a business, if you were to think that you know it all, you understand the market, you are very wrong. Today's context is full of many challenges, mainly the geopolitical landscape. I can plan my business today to be resilient to the current challenges. I know that there was a pandemic. We're currently now in a situation where, there's a bit of warfare going on. It's an unstable economy or even a environment. How are you to ensure or assure yourself that you are safe? You need to build certain pillars within your organization that can keep you and sustain you in a very long-term type of way. Mm-hmm. I believe that data is the foundation of each and every business. Perhaps it's not deliberate. For example, if you're going into an accounting spreadsheet, you're building your financial statements for releasing to the public as a public company. What do you do? What do you use to build that statement? Don't you use data? 100%. Data is information. So any company that thinks data is not important is a strange company.
You know what? Can I please jump in there?
Yes.
Let me please jump in there. And it's quite interesting because I was having this conversation with someone yesterday. If you put a fish in a pond, it becomes it becomes a normal environment. Am I correct?
Yes, and it grows as much as the environment allows it to
100%.
grow.
Why? Because that fish has possibly not never been exposed to a bigger space.
Correct.
Okay. Where I'm going with this is that as an organization, we've never been exposed to the possibilities of data. All we see is what we know. What we know is all we do, type of a thing.
Correct.
It has been yielding some sort of result. As much as we're profitable, we're doing okay. We're better than the last financial year.
Correct.
There seems to be a 12% increase in our revenues and stuff. We've managed to maintain our costs or maybe reduce our costs, whatever the case might be. We don't think we need this data thing. So what I'm asking really is, for those businesses which are not treating data as corporate asset because they've been seen, they've been exposed, for that fish that says, I'm fine in this pond because I haven't seen anything bigger. What's the advice there?
Well, first of all, I would ask the fish to please leave the pond. And by way of leaving the pond is expose.
But this is my comfort space.
Yes,
Where
I understand.
leave the pond? Where am I going? Why do I need to leave the pond? Because I'm fine here.
Yeah, let me elaborate on why you need
Okay.
to leave the pond and how you leave the pond. Sometimes change is scary, right? Especially when you're doing well, like you said, 12% growth within the business. But in an economy like ours, where we were growing at 0 point something percent, and now we at least hit the one mark, 1% growth.
Yeah.
How do you, as an organization, believe it's sustainable to grow at 12%? You should be growing at 100%. You should be going at 200%, for instance, because we are living in a volatile market. Our geopolitical situation is dire. We're going through elections soon. If I'm servicing public sector customers, I need to know that that area of business is going to be shaky. Then I need to now go pivot into other markets, right? So going back to how you leave the pond, I believe in exposure and curiosity. If you're an organization, the only way you can know is through training.
Through training
And enablement.
Okay.
Yes.
Of the people.
Of the people, the staff, especially the leadership. We tend to, train the people on the ground, and those people are quite enabled, amazing, engaged, but they are pushing against a glass ceiling with management that's not enabled or well educated. Maybe I've got an MBA, but do I really understand the value of data as a leader? That's why it says we've got a program for data leaders. It's at MBA level. We train leaders within organizations from any walk of life, be it finance, be it marketing, HR, to understand the value of data. I would say, first of all, enable your team, enable your leadership to understand what's out there. That's the only way you can start seeing what others are doing. Second is partnerships. Once you start partnering with different organizations, as much as it is wonderful to build our own thing and grow, you might end up like some other brands that were big back in the day. There's a cell phone company that at the time when I started my career in telco, they used to be big.
Yeah.
We would have challenges with their devices because they had many issues. And we'd contact them. I personally used to contact them and say, hey guys, I'm struggling. My SIM card is not working. And on the trace, I've got a very technical background. And I could read APDUs. Those are like machine language codes. And I could see this is the problem from the device. I'll tell them, send them messages, send them the logs. They would not respond. They would be so pompous in their position as a leader.
Yeah,
and what that led to is breakdown of their business. They were overtaken by other organizations and they eventually lost traction. And other people are leading the market right now. Had they listened and been in partnerships and also not been pompous in their position, they would have been in a better space. I would say look at history. History will inform. That's where the data comes in.
100%.
It will inform you that you are going in the wrong direction.
So you've said here that it says you've been operating for about 40 years now?
Correct.
Do you think that statement could breed ego? Because I sorry to interrupt you, because I have a feeling that most businesses operate from that type of thinking and stuff, because we've been here 2000 years BC, right?
6,000.
6,000.
Yes.
So that actually puts them in a very difficult situation, because then possibly they stop innovating. They stop asking themselves key intelligent questions until the small players, until the underdogs who are hungry, ready to prove a point, take over the market and stuff, come through and they cause disruption. So my question to you is, what's your advice then for those businesses who says we've been doing this for 40 years, for 100 years, for some business we know of 189 years? What's your advice there?
Sure. Let me first answer your first question in terms of SaaS. Yes, we've been around for 40 years. We are the pioneers of data, AI, and machine learning. However, if you look at SaaS's name, we are SaaS Institute. We were founded in academics. We understand that learning and continuous improvement is key to business.
Okay.
That's why we are still here today. And I would also say that we don't believe we are the know-it-all and end-all in data and analytics. We value partnerships quite stringently. As you may be aware, in recent times, we've also went through a distribution perspective. We are partnered with a company called Reddington to help us grow our channel organization. We were mostly direct, selling to customers directly, but we know that for us to have a bigger footprint, we need companies to take our technology, put their IP on top, and on-sell that to customers. That's how we become relevant, because most of the local organizations understand the pertinent issues within the country. They're able to use our technology to solve those problems on the ground. That's why we partnered with Reddington for that. On the other side, we've partnered with Microsoft. We have our own cloud hyperscaler within Microsoft. We have a strategic engagement with them. And at a level of R&D, we're also interacting with them to improve our own solutions. So they're leveraging the power of our analytics. We're leveraging the power of their business solutions as well as the cloud technology. We've come together in our Better Together slogan to build a very good value proposition for our customers who are using Azure as their cloud provider. AWS, similarly, we are partnering with them to grow our footprint there. Our solutions work seamlessly within GPC and other cloud providers. We also have an on-prem solution. So what I'm trying to say with this is SaaS believes that we cannot work in silos. We don't know everything. Yes, we know data, we understand data. However, the customer is ever evolving and changing. Different perspectives are required. To add to that, we don't only partner with vendors, we also partner with customers where we build solutions. For example, if you've got a body that is a consortia that services an industry, you're able to provide our solutions. That consortia, knowing the market, can build products with our technology, on-sell it to their customers or the members of that consortia.
100%.
So I would say that as an organization, we're quite humble. We are always willing to learn. We are agile and improving our technology as we go. So that's on the SaaS side.
100%.
For other organizations, as I mentioned, the best way to be agile and not grow that ego is partner. You will see that, there's some things that you're missing in your strategy.
There's something we're missing in our strategy.
Yes, there's always a blind spot, and the only way to manage the blind spot is through, different mirrors and viewpoints, and those are your partners.
I love that
Partnerships are key.
I love that point. I really, really love that point. Okay, so you talked about these pillars of the fifth industrial revolution. What are they again?
It's resiliency.
Resiliency.
It's human-centeredness.
Human-centeredness.
What is that?
Hyper-personalization.
Human-centeredness is hyper-personalization,
Okay.
and as well as sustainability.
Okay, sustainability.
Correct.
100%. Okay. So I believe this can also, and enhance a business capability to become more data-driven.
Correct. I believe, as I mentioned, resiliency is important, especially in the world we're living in right now. We had a major black swan event like the pandemic. We've got floods, riots. We have war that is looming. In order for the business to be resilient, you need to tap into your data. And data can be a monster, to be honest. You can even drown in it if you're not ready. That's why you need to select a platform that will be agnostic to technology and that can help you process all this data so that you can derive insights and service your customers. That's where SaaS comes in. Of course, there are other providers, but I can only speak for SaaS. So as I mentioned, our platform is open. You can bring your language, MATLAB. You can bring your R, your Python. Come and play in there. Extract data from the insights, or rather extract insights from the data that you've got within your organization and bring value to the business. We often think that technology is there to make the IT people happy, and engaged in their basement. But the value of data as well as technology is to service the business. Business are driven by revenue, as well as sustainability, as well as cost optimization.
Okay.
How do you use data to reach those objectives?
Okay, so you probably have answered the next question, but I think for the sake of our viewers, let's go through it again. What are the top 3 activities that you believe business should be working on a daily basis to become data-driven? 3 things we should be doing continuously, consistently.
Sure. I believe the foundation of AI, machine learning, and the value that the business can derive from data is quality. I believe, that space, it's actually the boring part of data. Everybody wants to be building models and things that people can see, but the underlying engine, the reason why most projects fail, even in data context, is because of the data. Take time, build your model or data lifecycle. I spoke of that infinity loop. You need to make sure that you've got a framework, not just technology now, you need to have a framework that governs your data. How you, first of all, collect the data, how you process the data, transform the data into insights, and then you put that into production to benefit the business. That is the foundation that the company needs to, first of all, even organizations like government need to focus on, and that's a big problem in our market. And I would advise organizations to consult with your data providers. Make sure that you understand and you build a proper sustainable framework at leadership level, in the board. So if data is
At
not...
a board level?
If data is not a topic at board level, there's something missing in the organizations. Mainly because of the risks that are associated with data. But I will come to that, I think, in the next topic, because I don't want to lengthen this one. You need to also consider the risks. Remember, data is governed today by data or information regulators. How you manage the data, you label it, how you classify the data. Some data need not be publicly published. Some have to be hidden for the sake of privacy. There's POPIA, there's PIA. You need to be cognizant of that. Otherwise, you are in risk of getting fined by the information regulators, and that can go into the billions in terms of dollars, not even rents.
Okay, 100%. Yeah. I love that. And then what's your advice for CDOs?
I would say from a CDO perspective is keep learning. The world is changing. I mean, yesterday we were talking ChatGPT 3.5. Now we are 4.0. Tomorrow we don't know what technology will bring. You need to continuously be on this learning journey. As I mentioned, we are SAS Institute. We are we stem from technology. That's or learning. If you don't continue to learn, you're going to become stagnant in a fast-moving, fast-paced environment. Keep learning. Use data as the foundation of your organization, and also fight for your seat in the board. I understand that CDOs have recently come into affluence. Before they were never at C level, meaning that chief. There was a CTO, there was a CIO, but the CDO was never in those discussions. But you need to fight for your seat at the table. Make sure that you are an advocate for data. The CTO will speak, of course, for technology. The CIO will speak for overall information technology as a whole. But if you have somebody representing data within the board, you can easily help your company grow in terms of the benefits that they will derive for the information that they've got.
100%. Yeah. Okay, so this following question is inspired by Michael Porter, the father of CI, right? Competitive intelligence.
I thought you meant customer intelligence. It depends on... Yes.
Yeah. He's warned us about some of these things. A couple of years back, the threats of competition, new entrants into the market, all those type of things. I guess the question I want to ask you is, if as businesses we've got access to somewhat, similar technologies, possible AI, capabilities and stuff, and in some instances, access to similar, data sets and stuff. My question is, if we've got access to, all those, how can we then still, differentiate our solutions and differentiate our brand?
Sure. I'll go back to the pillars of the fifth industrial revolution, which is hyper-personalization. The buyer of your technology is not a AI model. It's a human being. You need to structure your business such that you put people first. And I will speak to the spectrum of what that looks like. First of all, you need to take care of your people, the people that service your customer. Make sure that you take care of their mental health, work-life balance, and their needs in general. Of course, you're not going to stretch yourself beyond what the organization can afford, but taking care of your staff is key to that people-centeredness. That's one. Happy people make happy customers.
Okay.
Second of all is understanding your customers. If you understand, if you're going to be selling to a bank, you need to understand the strategy of the bank. What are their KPIs? What is it that the CFO, the CIO are trying to achieve in terms of their own growth and where they're going as an organization? If I come in there with a technology narrative, maybe the CIO will like me because, he loves to learn and he wants to understand technology. However, what value do you bring to the business in terms of his KPIs? You need to tick those boxes in terms of people's own KPIs and help them achieve their goal. That's second. That's speaking to the person as well.
Yeah.
Also, the quality and the value of the service you bring to them. As you mentioned, technology, if you compare X and Y, they're probably more or less the same. We provide the same services, we've got the same strengths. However, it's how you treat the customer, how you come to the party with them. Sometimes technology fails. You find that you've deployed a project, there are some issues, things break apart, but the relationship that you continue to build, how you come through for the customer in their time of need when the technology fails is what sets you apart.
Yeah.
And also, at times our customers have challenges, right? And as an organization, you need to be agile and more like an acrobat to be able to help them in their time of need. Don't just look at the customer as a revenue stream for you. It's more like a partnership. If in a partnership, when you are feeling down, I'll carry you.
Yeah.
That's how I think we should treat our customers. So those three pillars, your people, managing the KPIs of your customers, and also being supportive in terms of their challenges and needs. And you'll find that at times, customers will come through for you when you need them. So I believe these three pillars are a differentiator. Hyper-personalization, human-centeredness.
Okay, 100%. I also want to make sure that this podcast is relatable to the SME market, right?
Correct.
So I've worked a lot with SMEs, especially, through the sales enablement processes and stuff. And one thing I've seen is that SMEs don't use data at all. Most of them, let me say maybe the 80-20 principle here. I would say 80% of SMEs really have got no idea what data science is, how it looks like, where does it start, where does it end, what does it involve, what does it entail, all this type of things. There was an SME that I was actually working with, and we're looking into, so this person runs an insurance brokerage. What we're looking in was the possibility of then starting to, be more data driven in their sales approach. So I want to ask you two questions. The first question is, what's your take on cold calling, right? Is it dead? Does it still work? That's the first question. The second question is, how can an SME, benefit from the possibilities of data? Or is it only for big corporates?
Sure. Can I start with the last question?
Okay, go for it.
Sure. As an SME, you've got the challenge that you're small, right? You don't have the capital to invest in technology. You need to look at partnerships. There are many organizations that provide platform services. For instance, where there's a marketplace where you can go and procure certain services like your data and analytics. Broaden your horizon, understand what those organizations are. And also partnering with big brands is good for a small to medium enterprise. At SES, we've got a partnership program, as I mentioned, where we don't discriminate based on the size of the organization. If you've got a target market and then you are trying to use data at the center of your business, we are open. Our doors are open to onboard you and work with you to build your business. Especially in insurance, it's quite uncanny that you mentioned insurance there. We have a focus on insurance, and we're able to support small to medium enterprises in building their business in data, of course, helping them with that foundation through our MESP. A MESP is a service provider agreement that we build with big players as well as small players, where they can leverage our technology and we can co-invest with them. What that means is if XYZ insurance brokerage wants to now use data, and or if on sell that to insurances, for instance, they can come to SES and we can co-invest with them in the technology. We put the capital forward, they will bring some form of capital according to their size.
Okay.
Then we would build a platform where they could use data and then on-sell products. That product that they sell to the end customer doesn't have to be a data product. It can be any type of product based on their IP, but the underlying technology, SaaS, would help them. It would be like a co-investment partnership where they can now on-sell the technology without bearing the cost of that investment in the get-go. Then as they scale and grow their business, then we grow with them. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is, how about look at partnerships? Don't think you can reinvent the wheel. People have done it already. See how you can leverage existing big players.
I love that.
Correct.
Okay.
Your second question, can you repeat it again?
I think the first question you answered the second one.
Yes.
Cold calling.
I don't.
Is it necessary?
I believe. Let me be honest. I use cold emailing, cold calling today for business.
Okay.
How are you going to expand and grow if you don't meet new people, if you don't make new relationships? And how do you make new relationships without meeting new people? Sometimes it takes a phone call to make that cold call. I would like to speak to the foundation of the cold call.
100%.
Yes.
I love where this is going.
So don't just, I wouldn't say a cold call. I wouldn't call it a cold call. Let's call it a warm call. I think we might have spoken at the beginning of our discussion that you need to understand your market. You have to do research.
Which I think a lot of salespeople are lazy to do. Having worked with a lot of salespeople, I can tell you now for a fact, a lot of salespeople are lazy to do research.
That's a big problem. And I believe that's a big mistake. You need to understand your market. And how do you understand your market? You need to go into the data. It's not just data that you have in your own organization. Go out there, research. Lots of resources, internet.
Even the company website. Yes. I mean, just to know what this business is about, you know, where they're going, what their vision is.
Organization structure,
all this type of things. 100%.
You're calling Essie. Maybe I'm cleaning at the organization and you're calling me because you saw that I work for SES. But can I really help you break through? No, I can't. I won't. But maybe I'll let you take me out for lunch. However, you need to understand your buyer.
Those coffee meetings.
Yeah.
Let's go out for coffee.
For coffee, and you're going with a person who cannot make the decision. But don't get me wrong. Some cleaners have power. So they might have the ear of the CEO.
No, I understand. It's just an example.
Correct.
I don't think the message is, yes, it's just clean. I think what you mean is speaking to the wrong person.
The decision makers
100%.
is key. So back to the topic at hand, understand your customer. Know who are the decision makers, or even who is your road to the decision maker. Have proper research, thorough understanding of the business.
But also who owns the pain, right?
Correct. Who owns the pain? When you call and you are asking me about my challenges, and you have an idea of what I'm grappling with, I will be easily open to talking to you. And also on the personal side, remember, people are not robots. I'm not just an employee of SES. I'm not just a sales director. I'm also a person. Maybe I've got interests. You saw on LinkedIn, I keep liking certain NGOs, certain good deeds that people are doing, data for good. If you can start with that and say, hey, look, as myself as Temba, I've got this interest in, improving education in this sector, and I just wanted to talk to you about it. And also on top of that, I'd like to, that icebreaker.
The icebreaker, you don't just something relatable. So we find a common ground.
Correct. You need to understand your customer. You need to understand the decision-making matrix to an extent. And then you speak to the person based on their interests, both personal, maybe not too personal, but both to a certain extent personal and business, and what it is that they have a mandate to achieve or solve within the organization.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. I
so
love that.
Cold calling is not dead. You just need to prepare in advance.
So you just want to move it from cold to warm.
Warm. Yes. Let's call it warm calling.
Let's call it warm calling.
Yes.
So in my opinion, I personally don't believe cold calling is necessary, right? And when I say cold calling, I simply mean dialing someone who you've got no clue who they are, what they do, all this type of thing, just because you've got a number in front of you and stuff, trying to sell your solution. And I also think it's the approach which you use, which you've said quite nicely, to say when you're making that call is because you've got some insights already about this specific person. Yeah, I've seen this, what you like, I've seen this, what you do the most. I see this is what you believe in, this is what you're passionate about and stuff. I think there's something common, that we could possibly look into and stuff. On top of that, introduce you to some of the things that we do in our space and how we do it, and possibly see if there's opportunities to, do something together, collaborate, partner, whatever the case might be.
Correct.
But I just personally believe that calling someone just want to sell something out of the blue, trying to sell something, we've blocked most of these calls, really, most of us. And I don't know if you still entertain those calls, but
No,
I know
I do not.
Everyone I talk to doesn't entertain those calls.
Absolutely not. I think you also need, before you even call somebody you've never met before, some people. How about you broker or secure an introduction from your existing network? If that doesn't work, then okay, do that homework that I mentioned. Find out the person's details. Are they a decision maker? And then try to reach out to them.
Yeah, you talked about the importance of growing your network, meeting new people.
Correct.
And what I like to teach most of my salespeople is that don't do that through cold calling. Rather focus on building a referral-based business.
Correct.
Most businesses thrive on referrals. So it's easy for me to call your sibling as Essie if you've given me their number and you possibly told them about me. Hey, Temba will be calling. Expect a call from Temba.
Correct.
All those type of things. But that's a topic for another day.
Yes. So, Temba, maybe I just want to challenge you there a bit. From being a salesperson and having, some of the challenges in greenfields. So let's not apply a blanket to this cold calling narrative. There are areas where it's greenfields. You have no contacts. You are trying to break into a market. Perhaps you've seen, based on the IDC report, that this is a growing market. They are now a big consumer of data and analytics, and now they've put MarTech as one of their key pillars
100%.
In terms of the next 10 years. You don't know anybody in that area. Then you cannot have anybody introduce you because this is not new to you.
It's 100%.
Yes. So you need to be quite bold as well, and don't be afraid to say to get that no. But as I said, do the foundational work. Work on yourself and your information and your understanding of that market. If you cannot get a referral, by all means, be bold and go ahead. You never know. Somebody might pick up, but if it's not your core business and you are trying to grow there, focus maybe 5% of your time there. Yeah. But still, if you want to grow in new avenues or areas of business and you don't have any contacts, why not be bold? At least 5% is not a lot.
We're aligned.
Yes.
We're aligned. I think and believe that we're aligned because there are instances like that. The only thing that then needs to be considered in a situation like that is leading with insights.
Tact. Yes.
It's definitely leading with insights. We've got to have some sort of insights. We can't be looking for a black cat in the dark.
Correct.
Type of a thing.
Agree. You need to have a flashlight.
We need to have a flashlight type of a thing. But anyway, for the sake of time, we need to give our viewers some sort of homework. They must go and work on something. What are the things that you would like our viewers to start working on from a data, point of things?
Sure. By way of closing this discussion, which was quite intriguing and very thought-provoking, thank you, Temba, for the invitation. I'd like to challenge the audience to focus on learning. As I said, SAS Institute is an academically focused organization. We provide solutions from primary level, believe it or not, from the age of 7, in terms of education with data literacy, where kids can learn coding without any computers or even internet. That's the basics that we start with, up to MBA level, as I mentioned, with our leadership program. I would say, as a leader in data, you need to continue learning. You need to also invest in the community that you operate in. Sometimes we tend to look at ourselves as revenue generators, going up the organizational chain and being a success. But what legacy are you leaving behind as a leader in your community that you operate in, where you're getting value and revenue? Invest back in education. Today's kids are going to be tomorrow's data consumers. Build the ecosystem for you to both service your customers. They need to understand and know how to use data tomorrow in 20 years, 30 years' time. People have to be enabled to use your solutions. If nobody can use them, you're going out of business. So invest in learning both for your people as well as the community around you, as well as your leaders.
100%.
Invest in the leadership. Make sure that they understand the value of data. it's like cradle to grave type of situation. Even at government level, our leadership, perhaps not. I'm not a political person, but so I'll not be talking politics. But all I'm saying is, from a leadership perspective, our country needs to look into the data. SSA releases census data every 4 years.
In fact, what we're working on is to actually have Mr. Maluleke here. We need to have Resenga on this podcast because, as the statistician, the SG of StatSA, he must come and give us his perspective from a StatSA perspective.
Absolutely.
So it's something which we're working on. Hopefully, we'll have Resenga on this podcast soon.
Correct. Not to be long-winded, but speaking to this SSA discussion, there is a lot of data that's coming out of there and lots of insights. If you read the report from the Statistician General, you would learn a lot of challenges are in South Africa. A lot of opportunities are in South Africa. How do you leverage that data to improve our position? I believe if we were to be a data-centered country, we would be far in terms of solving our challenges.
100%.
Let's go back into the data. Let's learn and understand and also enhance our own skills within public sector to be able to harness the data for better insights to service our citizens. From a company perspective,
100%.
Temba, I think, investing in the right technology for a future and sustainable business growth, you need to be very careful in terms of the partners you choose and also prioritizing local business. As I mentioned, companies like ourselves, we always try to partner with local SMEs, etc., so that we can empower them to know the value of data and also on-sell to our customers. I'm not going to say, these are my customers now. If you have a business value that you think you can bring to an existing bank that I'm servicing, my door is open, I would say, come in, let's discuss, see how we can improve South Africa and work together towards a better future. I would love to see this country leapfrogging the likes of the EU, as well as the United Kingdom and the US in terms of our technology drive.
Yes, thank you so much. It was an honor having this discussion with you. Hopefully it's not the first and last time we have you on our Sales Matter podcast.
Absolutely.
We look forward to more engagements. Thank you for your time.
Sure. I'd like to also give I'd like to volunteer to discuss with you further on this MarTech discussion.
100%.
I would love for us to go deep into that and also see how you can leverage decisioning, the power of decisioning, real-time as well as retrospective decisioning in this MarTech space.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you have it. That's Essie. Let's go back to the data. That's episode 7 of the Sales Matter podcast. We look forward to having you on the next episode. Thank you.